In the last episode, we leaned on a trick to get the format we wanted. We showed the model a couple of examples and it copied the shape. For a human reading the answer, that is fine. But the moment you are building real software on top of a model, hoping the format comes out right is not good enough. Your code does not want a friendly paragraph with the answer somewhere inside it. It wants a specific field with a specific name holding a specific kind of value, the same way every single time. And a model, left to its own habits, loves to wrap things in chit-chat. Sure, here was that information you asked for. That one stray sentence is enough to crash the program trying to read it. So today we go from hoping for clean data to guaranteeing it. Quick note before we dig in. If you find this useful, subscribe and drop a topic you want explained in the comments. Now, let us get into it. Here is the whole idea in one sentence. Structured output is a way of constraining the model so that its answer comes back in a strict, machine-readable format like JSON that matches a shape you defined in advance. So your software can read it reliably instead of guessing where the answer is. JSON, if the word is new to you, is just the plain, universal way software passes around labeled data. A set of named fields and their values, like name, then a value, age, then a number. It is the language your code actually speaks. The job is to make the model speak it perfectly. Let me show you the levels because people lump them together and they are not the same. The first level is called JSON mode. When you switch it on, the model is guaranteed to return text that is valid JSON. No stray sentence in front, no missing bracket, nothing that will crash a parcel. That alone fixes the most common headache. But notice what it does not promise. It guarantees the text is shaped like JSON, but not that it contains the fields you actually wanted. You asked for a name and a price, and JSON mode happily hands you valid JSON with the wrong field names and a price written as words. Syntactically perfect, practically useless. The second level is the one worth remembering, and it goes by names like structured outputs or schema enforced output. Here you do not just ask for JSON, you hand the model a schema. A schema is simply a contract that spells out the exact shape you require. There must be a field called product name that is text. There must be a field called price that is a number. There must be a field called in stock that is true or false. With a schema in place, the model is guaranteed to return data in precisely that shape. The right fields, the right names, the right types, nothing missing and nothing extra. That is the difference between valid JSON and the JSON you can actually build on. Now, how does that guarantee even work? This is where everything we learned earlier pays off, so let me make it concrete. Remember from episode 5 that a model generates one token at a time, and at each step it is really just choosing the next token from a list of probabilities. Structured output reaches into that exact moment. The system knows the schema, so at every single step it masks out, it forbids any token that would break the required shape. If the schema says the next thing must be a number, every token that is not a digit is removed from the running before the model ever picks. This is called constrained decoding, and it is the real secret. The model is not being asked nicely to follow the format and trusted to comply. It is being physically prevented from producing anything else. It literally cannot leave out a required field or put text where a number belongs, because those tokens are never on the menu. That is the force enforcing clean output. In practice, you rarely wire this up by hand. You use real, named tools. From OpenAI, there is a feature called structured outputs, where you attach a JSON schema and the model is held to it strictly. Anthropic's Claude reaches the same result through its tool use feature, which we will meet properly next episode. And if you are running an open model yourself with something like Alama, the underlying engine supports grammars, a way to define exactly what valid output looks like and constrain the model to it. On the developer side, most people in the Python world describe the shape they want with a library called Pydantic, which lets you define your fields as plain classes, and a popular helper called instructor wires that straight into the model. You write down the shape once, and the clean data comes back matching it. One honest caveat, because it is easy to overtrust this. Structured output guarantees the shape of the answer, not the truth of it. The model can still hand you a perfectly formed record with a wrong value inside, a made-up price in the right field, neatly typed. Constrain decoding fixes the format problem completely. It does not fix the model being wrong. So you still validate the values, you just no longer have to fight the packaging. So how does this land depending on who you are? As an individual in a chat app, you brush against the simple version anytime you ask for a table or a clean list you can paste into a spreadsheet. Useful, but mild. As a startup, this is the feature that quietly turns a language model from a clever toy into a dependable part of your software. You can point it at a messy resume, an email, or a scanned invoice and get back a tidy record. The name here, the total there, the date in this field. That drops straight into your database with no fragile pattern matching to clean up the mess. The model becomes a reliable component, not a wildcard. And as a large enterprise, schemas become contracts between the AI and everything downstream. When an AI step has to feed a system that expects an exact format, a guaranteed schema means the data is validated, typed, and audible before it ever moves on, which is the difference between something you can put into production and something you cannot. So let us bring it home. Ordinary prompting nudges the format in hopes. Structured output guarantees it because constrained decoding forbids the model from ever producing a token that would break your schema. JSON mode gets you valid JSON. A real schema gets you the exact JSON you can build on, and the value still needs checking even when the shape is perfect. Now here is the thread that pulls us straight into the next episode. The very same machinery, the model emitting a precise structured request instead of prose, is the foundation of something far more powerful than formatting data. It is how a model asks to use a tool. When a model decides it needs to check the weather or query a database, it has to name the tool and fill in its arguments in exactly this kind of strict structure. That capability where the model reaches out of the text box and does something is called function calling, and it is where we go next. That is the core of it. If this helped, hit like and subscribe, ring the bell for the next deep dive, and tell me in the comments what you want broken down next. Thanks for watching.